Welcome back everybody. In today's video we'll be breaking down the top 10 best zombies in video gaming. For this list we'll look at any games that feature the undead, and we'll be judging them based on how well they represent their source material. Some of these entries may not have the traditional zombies, so to clarify, all entries on this list have some form of zombie characteristics, even if they're called or look like something else. There's a ton of undead freaks in video games, but these 10 are the best zombie killing experiences you can have. Number 10, Dead Nation. Dead Nation is a top-down twin-stick shooter only available on the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 platforms. The game has a great atmosphere that makes it one of the darkest and creepiest interpretations of the zombie genre in all of gaming. The gameplay is fast-paced and features hundreds of zombies on screen at once, requiring you to choose the right weapons for the right situations and mow them all down. The levels are dimly lit, forcing the player to rely mostly on their flashlight to reveal zombies coming towards them. And as you progress, you'll run into special zombies that will force you to adapt quickly to avoid getting overrun. Dead Nation is an excellent arcade zombie game that perfectly captures the zombie apocalypse atmosphere, better than most of the games on this list, but it can get repetitive, which is why we're going to have to leave it here at number 10. Number 9, Resident Evil. Resident Evil is a classic, and while it wasn't the first game series to feature zombies, it was the first to really make them scary. The first game features only a few zombies, but they're difficult to kill, and having them slowly shamble down the hallway with the lightning flashing through the windows makes for the perfect classic zombie horror. Not only that, but they come back to life later on and turn into horrifying super zombies, with long bloody claws, and they can move a lot faster. By the second game, the zombies have completely taken over Raccoon City, and they've become bloodier and horrifying, making it a hallmark of zombie video games. Number 8, Call of Duty Nazi Zombies. When World at War released in 2008, Treyarch thought it would be fun to sneak in a bonus mode to celebrate Halloween. The Nazi Zombie mode was awarded to players that completed the game's single-player campaign, and it forced players to fight off endless waves of creepy zombies within a small bombed-out World War II bunker. To keep the zombies at bay, you need to reinforce the windows and shoot as many zombies as possible while maintaining your limited ammunition supply and gambling at mystery crates for newer, more powerful weapons. The popularity of this game mode jump-started a resurgence in popularity surrounding the zombie video game genre, and has remained one of the most popular modes in Call of Duty ever since. Number 7, Dying Light. Dying Light takes what Techland learned from Dead Island and builds substantially around it. Set in the fictional city of Haran, you play as an undercover operative named Kyle Crane, sent to investigate a quarantine zone. The zombies in Dying Light will mostly shamble around slowly, making them easy to avoid, but you'll occasionally run into massive hordes that can become overwhelming very quickly, especially when you mix in some stronger zombies and melee weapons that will continuously degrade as you use them. Rather than giving the player a ton of guns to use, Dying Light encourages evading large groups of zombies and instead using parkour to climb around the city and even jump off of zombies' heads like trampolines. What makes this a great zombie game is the nighttime, where even more dangerous and brutal zombies come out that chase you down in the pitch black of night, requiring you to play more stealthily. And when you turn a corner and run into a big horde while trying to avoid these predators, you feel the same sense of dread you'd see in a classic zombie flick. Number 6, State of Decay. State of Decay isn't the prettiest looking game on this list, and it certainly could use some improvements in terms of controls, but it more than makes up for it with its gameplay mechanics. State of Decay is an open-world zombie survival simulator that tasks you with building a community by rescuing survivors, building walls, and growing crops. There's no respawning, so if one of your characters dies, they'll come back as a zombie and you'll need to deal with them with a different character. The entire premise of having to go out and hunt for supplies while also finding survivors to help build up your own base of operations is brilliant. And I love the game's map that has you clearing out buildings one by one and marking them down, ensuring that they are clear of zombies. This is exactly the kind of design I want to see in more open-world zombie games, just with better combat controls and graphics. Also, a stronger story wouldn't hurt. Number 5, Project Zomboid. Like State of Decay, Project Zomboid earns a spot because of its simulation capabilities. Only the zombies in Project Zomboid seem even more overwhelming, and the sense of horror is much more prevalent. Project Zomboid is a top-down isometric survival game that has you looting a randomly generated world while avoiding large hordes of zombies. The game's smart field of view makes it so the only zombies visible are the ones not blocked by objects relative to your character's position, so while it may look safe, you might turn a corner and run into a big horde behind a tree. The game is incredibly deep and features a ton of options to maintain your character's fear, health, and even maintain a community of survivors while fending off the undead horde. Project Zomboid is placed higher than State of Decay because of the more random design and unpredictable nature of the game world, along with its far creepier atmosphere. Number 4, Dead Rising. Dead Rising was designed originally to mimic George Romero's classic Dawn of the Dead film. In the original Dead Rising, you play as Frank West, a reporter sent to a shopping mall that has been overrun by zombies. These zombies are about as classic as they get, piling up on the windows in massive hordes and mindlessly wandering around until they see something they want to eat. Surfing through the horde in Dead Rising makes up a majority of the playtime, and the game's unique timer forces players to strategically plan out their route to objectives to ensure that they can save the maximum number of survivors, while also setting aside time for goofy zombie killing antics. This game would have been placed higher on the list if not for the incredibly awkward controls, bad escort mission design, and overly silly nature. Number 3. Red Dead Undead Nightmare. This standalone expansion came out at the peak of the overwhelming amount of zombie games in 2010, and most people had started to tire of the concept. But Rockstar knows how to deliver, and Undead Nightmare is not only one of the best zombie experiences in video games, but probably the best expansion ever made. You play as John Marston as you explore a zombie-riddled Wild West. The game's narrative is strong and has John trying everything he can to find a cure to help save his family from the virus that has infected them. And the creepy atmosphere in this expansion is done perfectly. It often pokes fun at old-school horror flicks while also managing to stay creepy throughout. Despite zombies being spread out across large open valleys, they still manage to sneak up on you time and time again, making for plenty of stressful moments. Each major settlement also needs to be purified of the zombie horde, and you'll be notified when a settlement is under attack, requiring you to help on occasion to prevent the spread of the infection. On top of that, Undead Nightmare features some other creepy additions like reworked weather and lighting, and even wild horses of the apocalypse that can be tamed and feature unique abilities to help fight back at the horde. Fighting the zombies may not be the most satisfying due to the clunky controls and awkward hit detection, but the experience is still one of the most haunting in the genre. Number 2. The Last of Us. The Last of Us has the strongest narrative out of all the games on this list, and probably the strongest narratives in all of gaming. You play as Joel, a man who's lost everything after an infection causes neighbors to start eating each other, and you need to help escort a little girl named Ellie across the country to help find a cure. The cordyceps virus is unique in that it changes infected humans into the walking fungus, but the basic zombie premise remains the same. What lands The Last of Us high on this list is not just its phenomenal story, but the excellent stealth-based gameplay, along with fantastic variety in level design and movie-quality encounters with the undead. You'll go through all kinds of creepy locations, all while trying to avoid dangerous survivors and even more dangerous clickers that can run up and kill you with a single bite. The Last of Us is a masterpiece, and one of the closest video game experiences to movies like 28 Days Later. But there's still one more game that pulls off the zombie movie vibe, but before I reveal the top spot, here's a few other honorable mentions. And my number 1 pick for the best use of zombies in a video game is Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead is a cooperative zombie shooter game that has you and your friends fighting from point A to point B through never-ending hordes of fast-moving zombies. The zombies alone are easy enough to kill, with single shots to the head generally being enough to kill them. But as you travel through the creepy locations in Left 4 Dead, you'll often hear a short musical cue as a massive horde comes out of nowhere and ambushes you. The unpredictable nature of Left 4 Dead is something no other zombie game has managed to successfully pull off, making it infinitely replayable and a fun game to pick up and play without having to spend countless hours gathering supplies. The story is told only through occasional character dialogue along with messages scribbled on safe room walls, which makes the world feel alive, and the variety in level locations is extensive, giving you a taste of everything you'd want in a zombie game. And that's my list of the top 10 best zombie games. What do you guys think? What zombie-based games do you love the most? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more top 10s posted every week.